All right, so, you sent me this video about the 10 most terrifying prophecies from the book of Revelation.
Right.
And I have to admit, some of those really did get under my skin a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, Revelation's always kind of had that reputation, right, for being intense and maybe even a little bit, scary.
Yeah. I could see why you would say that.
Yeah.
The imagery is definitely pretty striking,
Yeah.
And I think it's really captured people's imaginations for centuries. I mean,
For sure.
yeah.
But we're not just here to be scared, right?
No. Yeah.
What I thought was really interesting is that the video you sent connects these prophecies to stuff that's happening in the world today.
That's right. That's right.
Like right now?
Yeah, we can kind of explore those and unpack the symbolism.
Yeah.
See how it resonates with us, the challenges and choices that we face today as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
So can you give us a little context first? Where does Revelation fit in the Bible?
Sure. So Revelation is the last book of the New Testament.
Oh.
And it's generally considered an apocalyptic text.
Okay.
So it uses a lot of symbolic language to depict, the cosmic struggle between good and evil,
Right.
leading up to a final judgment and then the establishment of God's kingdom.
Okay, so not exactly light reading then.
No, not exactly.
But it seems like it's more than just predicting, like doom and gloom in the end of the world.
That's right. That's right.
Like it seems like it has some other point to it.
Yeah, it also offers a message of hope
Okay.
and resilience,
Okay.
In the face of difficult times,
Yeah.
it was most likely written during a time of persecution for early Christians.
Oh, okay.
So it kind of gave them this vision of ultimate triumph over, their oppressors.
Gotcha. That starts to make sense.
Yeah.
So let's get into these 10 prophecies then.
All right.
The first one that the video mentions is the Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse.
Right.
I have to say, just hearing that name sends chills down my spine.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the most iconic images from Revelation.
For sure.
The Four Horsemen represent conquest, war, famine, and death,
Wow.
each riding a different colored horse.
I know. It's so creepy.
And what's interesting is the video you sent links those horsemen to current events.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, what do you think about when you think about war and conquest, anything happening right now?
Well, yeah. I mean, obviously the conflicts in Israel and Gaza and also the, Russia-Ukraine war.
Exactly.
Those both fit the bill pretty well, I would say.
Right. And we can't forget the COVID-19 pandemic, right?
Oh, yeah, that's true.
That brought death and disruption on a global scale.
Wow, it really is. The horse...
It's not about taking it literally,
Yeah.
It's just about seeing, are there any parallels,
It really makes you think.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's the next one?
The next one is the Great Tribulation.
Okay, that doesn't sound very pleasant.
No, it
It
doesn't. It's described as a time of intense suffering and hardship,
Okay.
unlike anything the world has ever seen before.
Wow.
And Jesus actually talks about it in Matthew 24:21-22.
Okay.
He says it will be a tribulation such as has not been since the beginning of the world until now.
Wow, that's pretty heavy.
No, nor ever shall be.
Wow, those are strong words.
They are.
And I found it really interesting that the video connects this prophecy to, the persecution of churches globally today.
Yeah, it highlights the fact that many Christians around the world
Right.
are facing oppression and hardship because of their faith.
Yeah.
Think about what that might mean for you if your faith was suddenly considered dangerous or outlawed.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I don't really like to think about that.
Yeah, it's a sobering thought.
It is. It really is.
It makes it more real.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on.
Right.
7 bowls of God's wrath.
Uh-huh.
This one sounds like a straight-up disaster movie.
Yeah, it kind of does.
What is it?
In Revelation 16, there are 7 angels
Oh, okay.
who pour out bowls filled with God's wrath upon the earth.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Each bowl unleashes a different plague. We're talking painful sores, blood-filled waters, scorching heat,
Oh, my God.
devastating earthquakes, you name it.
Okay, so like Mother Nature turning against humanity, but with a divine twist.
Yeah, I guess you could say that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what's the message here? Is it just straight up destruction?
It is a depiction of divine judgment.
Okay.
But what's interesting is that the video emphasizes the idea of repentance
Oh, okay.
as a way to escape this wrath.
Okay, so it's not just about punishment. There's
No.
like a chance to change or something.
That's right. It's about redemption as well.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think divine judgment means in a modern context, though?
That's a good question.
Like, how do we think about that today?
Well, if we think about it symbolically,
Okay.
could these plagues represent, the consequences of our actions,
Right.
both individually and collectively.
Okay.
Are we facing a kind of wrath as a result of our choices?
It's definitely something to think about. Okay, next one that always captivated my imagination is the Mark of the Beast.
Mm-hmm.
I remember being a kid and that one, really sticking with me.
I think that's true for a lot of people.
Yeah.
It's a very powerful image.
Uh,
It's a symbol of allegiance to the Antichrist.
oh,
Something
wow.
that people need to, buy and sell, but that ultimately condemns them.
The video references Revelation 13.1617.
Okay.
It talks about everyone being forced to receive this mark on their right hand or their forehead.
Right.
And that's kind of a chilling thought.
It is.
Especially when you think about the consequences for those who refuse it, like persecution or exclusion from society, maybe even death.
It's true. It makes you think about what it means to stand for your beliefs, even when it comes at a high cost.
Right.
Yeah.
It's interesting because, you could almost see this as a metaphor for how technology is being used today.
Oh, how so?
All the talk about digital currencies and, social media tracking and all this government surveillance. It feels like we're constantly being pressured to conform and to give up part of ourselves for the sake of convenience or security.
That's a good point.
Yeah. Do you see any connection there?
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
What if we look at the mark of the beast, not as a literal mark,
Okay.
but as a symbol of any system or ideology that demands, absolute allegiance and
Yeah.
that tries to control our thoughts and beliefs and actions.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, think about how much of our lives are online now. It's
Oh,
crazy.
It is.
All of our data, our finances, our connections.
That's all out there.
It's all out there and it's all being used to influence us in
Definitely.
ways we may not even be aware of,
It's true. And this prophecy is urging us to resist that kind of control,
Okay.
to hold fast to our values and beliefs, even when it's hard.
Right.
It reminds us that true freedom is in our ability to think for ourselves and to make choices that align with our conscience.
Yeah. It's a good reminder for sure.
It is.
Okay, so we've got this, this beast, this Antichrist figure, but the prophecy also mentions a false prophet.
Yeah.
Who is that and how do they fit into all this?
So the false prophet is portrayed as a deceptive religious leader
Okay.
who supports the beast and performs false miracles to deceive people.
Oh, okay, so like the beast's PR agent, kinda.
Yeah, you could say that.
Spinning the message.
Right.
And using religion to manipulate people.
And he's
So
correct.
like a classic evil power couple, working together to control and deceive everybody.
That's right. And I think the key takeaway here is about being discerning.
Okay.
Recognizing the difference between genuine spirituality and blind faith.
Yeah.
Between authentic leadership and manipulation and power.
It really makes you wonder, right?
It does.
Especially today when, information is everywhere, but it's also so easy to manipulate.
Exactly.
Okay, let's move on to another one.
Right.
Another prophecy that evokes some pretty powerful imagery, the Battle of Armageddon. I mean, just that name, conjures up images of these epic battles and fiery destruction.
It's true. It's one of the most dramatic scenes in Revelation.
For sure.
Chapters 16 and 19 describe this ultimate showdown between good and evil,
Okay.
culminating in the return of Jesus to defeat the wicked and establish his kingdom.
Okay, so it's not just a physical battle then. It's like, a cosmic one.
It is.
A clash of ideologies.
It is. It's symbolic of the ultimate triumph of good over evil.
Okay.
A decisive victory that kind of ushers in a new era of peace and righteousness.
But the interesting thing is that the battle takes place in a very specific location.
Right.
Right? Armageddon.
Right.
But isn't that a real place?
That's
Like actually a place on Earth?
The name comes from the Hebrew, Har-Megiddo, which means Mount of Megiddo.
Oh, okay.
It's a place in ancient Palestine, and it has a long history of conflict.
Oh, wow.
So it's often seen as a symbol of, the final battle between good and evil.
Oh, okay. So even the location has this symbolism to it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. It's almost like the prophecy is saying that this battle, it's not just an abstract conflict.
Okay.
It's, it's about a struggle that's been happening throughout all of history.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Next prophecy feels a little bit more hopeful.
It does, yeah.
What about this heavenly resurrection of the dead?
So the resurrection is a core belief in Christianity.
Okay.
The idea that death is not the end, but a transition to a new life with God.
Right, right.
And 1 Corinthians 15.21-22 states that, "For since death came through a man, the resurrection of the dead comes also through a man.
Oh, my.
For as in Adam all die, so in Christ all will be made alive.
Oh, wow.
It's a message of hope and victory over death.
Yeah.
Promise that those who believe will be raised to new life in God's kingdom.
It's interesting how this one fits into, the overall narrative of Revelation, right? It's all this judgment and destruction, but then all of a sudden, there's this renewal, this resurrection.
It's a reminder that even amidst darkness and despair, there's always hope.
Yeah.
And that hope is rooted in the belief that death is not the final word.
Right.
There's something beyond
this, yeah.
this earthly existence.
Okay, what about this New Jerusalem?
Yeah.
This one sounds pretty spectacular.
Yeah, it's truly breathtaking.
I've always been fascinated by, the imagery of it.
I know.
What is it?
Revelation 21 and 22 describe this, stunningly beautiful city descending from heaven.
Wow.
Adorned with precious stones and gates of pearl.
Oh my gosh.
And a river of life that flows through it.
Wow.
It's really meant to convey, the perfection and the glory of God's eternal kingdom. This place where there is no more pain or suffering or death.
It almost sounds too good to be true.
It does, right.
But what does it mean for us now? What's the takeaway from this vision?
It's about holding on to hope.
Oh, crap.
Even when we're surrounded by brokenness and suffering. It's a reminder that there's a better future possible. A future that's free from all those things that causes pain and heartache.
It's a glimpse of what could be.
Yeah. Absolutely.
A vision to kind of inspire us to work towards a better world.
It is.
Okay, we've covered a lot, but we still have a couple prophecies to go.
Yeah, we're getting to the heart of it.
We are.
Exploring, the final acts of this cosmic drama.
Okay.
I'm curious to hear what you think so far.
Okay.
What are your thoughts? What's resonating with you? What questions are bubbling up?
Well, it's fascinating to me how these prophecies kind of weave together this judgment and hope and this destruction and renewal. It's not just like doom and gloom,
Yeah, there's a complexity there that I think often gets overlooked.
Yeah, for sure.
It's not just simply a prediction of the future.
Right.
It's an exploration of, who we are as humans and our relationship with the divine.
It's really deep.
It is.
Okay, so what's next?
Okay, all right.
What's the next prophecy?
So the next one is the two witnesses.
The two witnesses, okay.
So who are these figures and what role do they play in this whole thing?
I'm ready.
Okay, well, they appear in Revelation 11 as these mysterious figures, these prophetic figures who emerge during the end times.
Okay.
And they're there to proclaim God's truth.
Okay.
And they have this incredible power to perform miracles.
Okay, so like what?
Like turning water into blood and calling down plagues upon the earth.
Wow. So they're not afraid to, make a statement.
No, they're not.
I have a feeling this doesn't end well for them, though.
You're right. It doesn't.
They're going up against the beast.
Yeah, so the video mentions that they're eventually killed by the beast.
Oh.
Their bodies are left lying in the street for everyone to see.
Oh. That's brutal.
It's a pretty brutal image, yeah.
Like a public execution.
Right, to send a message to anyone who dares to challenge the beast.
Exactly.
But wait, there's a twist.
Oh, is there? What happens?
So after 3.5 days,
okay,
they are resurrected.
Oh, wow.
And they ascend to heaven in a cloud right in front of their enemies.
So they get the last word,
They do, yeah.
Even in death.
Even in death, yeah.
It's like a cosmic mic drop.
It is.
What do you think the significance of all that is?
Well, it's a powerful symbol of God's power over death.
Okay.
And it's a vindication of his faithful witnesses.
Right.
Even in the face of persecution.
Right.
It reminds us that speaking truth to power often comes at a cost.
Mm-hmm.
But that ultimately, victory belongs to those who stand firm in their convictions.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
It also makes me think about, the story of Jesus.
Right.
His death and resurrection. It's like these two witnesses are mirroring that pattern.
They are, yeah.
Of sacrifice and victory.
Exactly.
Okay, now for the last one, the final judgment.
All right.
This is the big one, right?
It is.
Everything comes down to this. So Revelation describes it as a time when all of humanity, both the living and the dead, stand before God.
Oh, wow.
To be judged according to their actions.
Okay.
So it's a scene of ultimate accountability.
So it's not just about, who's good or bad.
Yeah.
It's about how we've lived our lives.
Exactly. The choices that we've made.
The choices we make, yeah.
It's about facing the consequences of our actions.
Yeah.
Both positive and negative.
Right.
The righteous will be rewarded with eternal life with God.
Okay.
While the wicked will face condemnation.
Okay, it's pretty sobering.
It is.
And what about the world?
Yeah.
Like after this happens?
Yeah, so Revelation describes a renewal of creation,
Oh, wow.
a new heaven and a new earth,
Okay.
free from sin and suffering.
Wow. So like a reset button,
Yeah, like a reset button.
like a chance to start over.
Right, to create something beautiful and just,
Okay, I think we've gone through all 10 now.
we have.
You know, you've really unpacked these, connected them to things that are happening
Yeah.
today.
It's really incredible how relevant, these are.
It's true.
So as we reflect on all this, what do you think is the most important takeaway for the listener?
For me, it's the message of hope that persists, even in the midst of, judgment and tribulation.
Okay.
Revelation is not just a book about the end of the world,
Yeah.
but about the beginning of something new and something better.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
Yeah,
It's a call to persevere in faith and to hold on to hope.
that's right.
Even when things, don't seem very hopeful.
Exactly.
It's also a reminder that, we have a role to play.
That's right.
These are not just passive predictions, they're
Yeah.
calls to action,
Absolutely.
right? It challenges us to examine our lives
Yeah.
and to make choices that are aligned with our values
Mm-hmm.
and to work towards a better world,
That's right.
a world that reflects, God's love and justice.
Exactly.
Revelation's giving us a choice, It is a choice between giving in to fear and despair or rising to the challenge
That's right.
and, embracing a future full of hope and possibility.
It is. It is.
So as you're listening to this, I want you to think about what's resonating with you.
Yeah. What stands out?
Yeah.
What prophecies are sticking in your mind?
Yeah.
What connections are you making to your own life
Yeah.
and to the world around you?
Yeah.
What kind of future do you see emerging?
Right. And what role are you playing in shaping that future? These are not, just abstract questions.
Right.
They're personal
That's right.
invitations to engage with these deeper truths that Revelation is trying to convey.
Absolutely.
You've given us a lot to think about.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's amazing how these prophecies can still speak to us today.
Yeah. The beauty of Revelation is that it allows for multiple interpretations.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
It invites us to engage with it on a personal level,
Okay.
to find meaning and relevance for our own lives.
So there are no easy answers then.
No, there's no neat conclusions.
Okay.
It's about asking the right questions,
Yeah.
wrestling with the complexities,
Yeah.
and ultimately finding our own path forward.
Yeah. And maybe, just maybe, we can help create a world that's a little bit closer to that vision of peace and justice that Revelation's offering.
I hope so.
Yeah, me too.
So as we wrap up this first part of our deep dive into the book of Revelation,
Okay.
let's shift the focus back to you, the listener.
Okay.
What do you make of all this?
Yeah.
What stood out to you? What questions or insights have emerged for you as you've kind of journeyed through these prophecies with us?
Yeah, think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really is complex.
Right.
Okay, so what's next? What's the next prophecy?
The two witnesses.
The two witnesses. Okay, what's that all about?
They appear in Revelation 11
Okay.
as these mysterious prophetic figures
Okay.
who emerge during the end times to proclaim God's truth.
Okay.
And they have incredible power.
Okay, like what?
They can perform miracles, turning water into blood,
Okay.
calling down plagues on the earth.
Wow. Okay, so they're not afraid to, make a statement.
No, they're not.
But I feel like it doesn't end well for them, though.
You're right, it doesn't.
Going up against the beast, it can't be good.
The video mentions that they're eventually killed by the beasts,
Oh.
and their bodies are left lying in the street
Oh, my gosh.
for everyone to see.
That's brutal.
It's a pretty brutal image, yeah.
Almost like a public execution, right?
Right, to send a message
Send a message, yeah.
to anyone who dares to challenge him.
Right.
But wait, there's a twist.
Oh, there is? What happens?
After 3.5 days,
Okay.
they are resurrected
Oh, wow.
and ascend to heaven in a cloud,
Oh, wow.
right in front of their enemies.
Wow. So they get the last word, even in death.
Yeah, they do.
That's like a cosmic mic drop, right?
It is, yeah.
So what's the significance of all that?
Well, it's a powerful symbol of God's power over death
Okay.
and a vindication of his faithful witnesses.
Okay.
Even when they face persecution,
Mm-hmm.
it reminds us that speaking truth to power often comes at a cost.
Yeah.
But ultimately, victory belongs to those who stand firm in their convictions.
I like that. I really like that.
It's a good one.
It reminds me of, the story of Jesus,
Right.
his death and resurrection.
Yeah.
It's like these two witnesses are mirroring that pattern
They are.
of sacrifice and then ultimately victory.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Okay, so now the last one, the final judgment.
Right.
This is it, right?
This is it.
Everything's coming down to this.
Everything comes down to this, yeah.
So what happens?
So Revelation describes it as a time when all of humanity,
Okay.
both the living and the dead,
Okay.
will stand before God to be judged according to their actions.
Wow.
It's a scene of ultimate accountability.
So it's not just about who's, good or bad.
No.
It's about how we've lived our lives, right?
It is. It's the choices that we made.
Yeah, the choices we make.
It's facing the consequences of our actions,
Right.
both good and bad.
Right. Both positive and negative.
So the righteous will be rewarded
Okay.
with eternal life with God,
Okay.
while the wicked face condemnation.
Wow. That's pretty intense.
It is intense.
What happens to the world, though?
The world, well, there's a renewal of creation,
Okay.
a new heaven and a new earth,
Okay.
free from all sin and suffering.
So it's kind of like a reset.
Right. Like a reset button.
Yeah, chance to start over.
Chance to start over, yeah, to create something beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we've been through all 10 now.
I think we have.
You've really unpacked them, connected them to current events.
I tried to.
And, it's really incredible how relevant they are today.
It is true.
So as we reflect on all of this, what do you think is the most important takeaway for our listeners?
I think for me, it's the message of hope
Okay.
that persists even in the midst of judgment and tribulation.
Yeah.
Revelation isn't just a book about the end of the world.
Right.
It's about the beginning of something new, something better.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
It's a call to persevere in faith
Yeah.
and to hold on to hope.
Right.
Even when things seem really, really bleak.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's also a reminder that we have a role to play.
We do.
These aren't just, passive predictions.
No.
They're calls to action.
Absolutely.
It's challenging us to examine our lives.
Right.
Make choices that align with our values.
Absolutely.
And, ultimately work towards a better world.
That's right. A world that reflects God's love and justice.
It's like Revelation is giving us this choice.
Yeah.
A choice between, giving in to the fear and despair.
Right.
Or rising to the challenge.
Right.
And embracing, a future full of hope and possibility.
That's it.
So as you're listening to this,
Yeah.
I want you to really think about what's resonating with you.
What stands out to you?
Yeah.
What are the prophecies that are sticking in your mind?
Yeah.
What connections are you making to your own life?
Yeah.
To the world around you?
Yeah.
What kind of future do you see emerging?
And what role are you playing in shaping that future?
Yeah.
These aren't just these abstract questions. They're very personal.
Right. It's a personal invitation.
Yeah, to engage with these deeper truths that Revelation is trying to, convey.
Absolutely.
You've really given us a lot to think about.
I hope so.
It's amazing how, these ancient prophecies can still be so powerful today.
It's true. Yeah.
It's really incredible.
The beauty of Revelation is that it allows for multiple interpretations.
Right?
So it invites us to engage with it on a personal level,
Okay.
to find meaning and relevance for our own lives in our own times.
So there are no easy answers.
No, there's no need conclusions.
It's about asking the right questions.
It is.
Wrestling with those complexities and ultimately finding our own path.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And maybe, just maybe, in doing that, we can create a world that's, a little bit closer to that vision of peace and justice
I hope so.
that Revelation's offering.
Yeah, I hope so.
Me too. Okay, so as we wrap up this second part of our deep dive into the book of Revelation,
Well,
let's shift the focus back to you, the listener.
okay.
What do you make of all this?
What stood out to you?
Yeah.
What questions are coming up for you?
Yeah.
What insights have emerged for you as you've kind of journeyed through these prophecies with us?
Yeah, it's really a wild ride.
It is.
We've explored prophecies of war and plagues and judgment and resurrection, but it always comes back to this message of hope.
Yeah, Revelation isn't just about the end, but about a new beginning.
Right.
And it challenges us to think about what matters.
Yeah.
And to find hope even when we face adversity.
Yeah.
And to be part of something, creating a better world.
I was thinking as we were going through these prophecies, how they could be interpreted, symbolically. For example, the mark of the beast.
Yeah.
You mentioned it could represent any system that tries to control us.
Right, right.
And it got me thinking about how we navigate the world today, with all the technology and all the information.
Yeah, it's a good point.
It's overload,
What if we look at each of these prophecies
Okay.
as a lens through which we can examine our own lives and the choices we make.
Okay.
Like the Four Horsemen
Yeah.
could represent, the forces of chaos
Wow.
and division that we see all around us.
Yeah. Yeah.
Are we contributing to that, or are we working to counter it?
Right. Right.
Those plagues, the imagery from those bowls of wrath, pretty intense.
It is. Yeah.
What if we think of them as metaphors
Okay.
for the consequences of our actions,
Okay.
both individually and collectively?
Right.
Are we ignoring the warnings, or are we seeking solutions to the problems we face?
Yeah. It makes you think.
Revelation challenges us to think about the legacy we're leaving.
Oh.
Are we building walls, or are we building bridges?
Right.
Spreading fear or spreading hope?
Those are really good questions.
Yeah. Are we clinging to the old ways,
Right.
or embracing transformation and renewal?
Yeah. Those are things we need to think about.
The two witnesses
Yeah.
makes me think about the importance of speaking truth to power,
Mm.
even when it's hard,
Yeah.
even when it's dangerous.
Are we using our voices?
Yeah. Are we advocating for justice and compassion,
Right.
or are we staying silent when we see injustice?
Right. Right.
And the Battle of Armageddon,
Yeah.
this clash of good and evil,
Yeah.
it might not be a literal battle,
Yeah.
but it's those daily choices that we make, the battles we fight within ourselves,
Yeah.
to choose love over hate,
Right.
forgiveness over resentment,
Yeah.
hope over despair.
This whole idea of the final judgment makes me wonder, what will our defining legacy be?
Yeah.
What will we be judged on?
Our possessions,
Right.
our achievements,
Right. Right.
or something deeper,
Something more meaningful.
right? Maybe it's the impact we've had,
Okay.
the lives we've touched,
Right.
the love we've shared,
Yeah.
the difference we've made.
Yeah. That's a good point.
Revelation reminds us that our lives have a purpose.
Yeah.
Our choices matter.
Yeah.
We have the power to shape the future,
Yeah.
both for ourselves
Right.
and for those who come after us.
So as you're listening to this,
Yeah.
what are your hopes and fears for the future?
What challenges are you facing?
Right. What choices are you making?
What are you doing to make a difference?
Yeah. How are you using your gifts,
Yeah.
your talents?
To make a positive impact.
Yeah.
Remember, Revelation isn't just about the end of the world.
Right.
It's about the beginning of something new.
Okay.
It's a call to awaken,
Yeah.
to rise to the challenge,
Mm-hmm.
and to choose to be a part of creating a world that reflects that vision of peace, justice, and love.
Wow.
It's been great exploring these prophecies with you.
Yeah, it has.
I hope this deep dive into Revelation has been insightful,
It really has.
and I hope it's been thought-provoking.
It has.
And to you, the listener,
Yeah.
I encourage you to keep pondering these questions.
Yeah.
Read Revelation for yourself.
Yeah.
Let the imagery, the symbolism, spark your imagination.
Yeah.
Allow its message to challenge you and inspire you to live a life of purpose and meaning and hope.
It's been an incredible journey, exploring all this with you.
It has.
I hope you found this deep dive into Revelation insightful
You do.
and thought-provoking.
Keep exploring.
Yes.
Keep questioning.
Yeah.
Keep diving deep.
Thank you for joining us on the deep dive.